Hey, welcome back to the library. We're going to miss our flight. Late in the year of our Lord PlayStation 2001, publishers were finally feeling comfortable with turning the PlayStation into a budget-title destination. Oftentimes, these were English-friendly imports that needed almost no localization and could be licensed for pennies on the dollar. Sony's console found itself enjoying a second burst of life in the wake of the PlayStation 2 as the budget titles and AAA namesakes continued to support the platform. Our entry in today's episode of Game-Rave TV focuses on Natsume's Skydiving Extreme, a title whose entry fee is practically free and deserved so much more in its original time frame. More on that later. Players are tasked with choosing a 4-person skydiving team from around the world and proving their aerial worth against 5 other teams. Successfully survive all 5 and players can crown themselves the ruler of all things in freefall. Originally released in Japan as Aerodive under Banpresto's label, Skydiving Extreme is a button combination Simon Says style game in the same vein as Busted Groove. Players will need to perform a series of button commands to successfully perform smaller aerial tricks as they work their way up to the grand 8th max formation. Pull off that stunt, and the game will promote you to a higher class, upping the difficulty of the stunts being pulled off. All of this is going on while the rival squad is doing the same thing. Here's where things take an interesting mid-air turn. As the player successfully performs their stunts, an attack meter will fill up in the upper corner. Pressing the L1 button when the meter is ready will provide a 1, 2, or 3 tier attack on the rivals. These attacks will be swapped in for their original button patterns and vice versa. Depending on the attack style of the team, this can be an alternate button press, directional pad command, or the dreaded mix of both. If the attack pattern cannot be successfully countered, the team will drop faster for a moment. The overall goal is to be the team last to the finish line down below. Players will also drop faster if they can't perform their own combos and recover. The 8 stunt set will restart from the first formation every time you miss a press. Once the 8 formations of small B class are matched, divers will be promoted to a small A class. So long as there's no major mess-ups, this upgrade will promote you overall at the end of each run. Should each run successfully end in a class promotion after finishing off the regular teams, the S-class ranked hidden rival team will appear. Successfully defeat them and they'll be playable after the credits finish. Just make sure to save your game, there's no auto-saving. Skydiving Extreme's core gameplay is pretty much all of the gameplay, so it had better be good. It is, but there's a huge wrench thrown in the works that almost derails the game. The game's pattern system requires the gamer to press a button or D-pad sequence, then followed up by 2 more sequences. The problem stems in just how many moves the game wants you to process in a single sequence. Rising up the ranks can start from 2 to 4 presses, but once you start reaching the A and S ranks, things get nuts. Rather than throw up another sequence frame, the programmers decided to cram as many button presses as they could with no regard for visual sensibilities. For example, the first sequence to catch me off guard was this one. The game is looking for you to press triangle, circle, cross, back to circle, and then square. Okay, that's fair, I guess. And then we get a monster like this one. That's asking for up, right, down, and right again. Now, before anyone's eyes get crossed, the worst are the crossovers like this one. What you're looking at is left, right, down, up, down, left. And you need to sort that out within a few seconds. These aren't even the worst ones, they were just the easiest ones to get to for recording. Thankfully, the game features a practice mode that allows folks to set the class difficulty in squad, so repetition learning is key. The best course to become good at the game is to approach it from a Street Fighter thought process, rather than a rhythm game. Trying to process the motion will only see you run out of time every time. Instead, like playing a fighting game, memorizing what move to press based on the visual is the trick. Like having someone jump at their Ken and the player instantly reacting with an uppercut motion. That's the level of difficulty being worked with. If enough time is spent in practice learning how to react to a symbol rather than a movement within it, it will do wonders for your speed input. And that's pretty much it for Skydiving Extreme, which is a shame, as once the sequence process is figured out, the game's a blast to play. Every time a successful rank up into S-class is reached, fist pumps are an automatic response. It makes gamers feel like they actually accomplished something. There's a wonderful Japanese arcade feel to the announcer formation calls, and the creative poses and unique locations it all offers. Plus, the secret teams remix how the button sequences appear on screen, so there's a reason to go back 6 more times. After that, though, the party's pretty much over. From an experience standpoint, Skydiving Extreme is an easy, great rating of 8 out of 10, but that proclamation comes with a very large asterisk. In the cruel world of honest reviews, all factors must be laid on the table. The reason such a short, great, but admittedly frustrating at times title scores that high is because of the price point. 20 years after its release and of this video's publishing date, it's still $10 or less shipped, sometimes 5 shipped. It turns out pretty much no one gave the game a chance. This is proven tenfold when you realize how many wholesalers had a hand in trying to sell off all the old stock. It's obvious that Natsume's budget gamble got lost among the PlayStation 2 games and the building rivalry between the Xbox and the GameCube. If you can skip the fast food combo meal, or a large Starbucks coffee for the day, you'll find plenty of fun and much more entertainment value in the arms of Skydiving Extreme. Anything higher than, say, $15, though, and you can pull the ripcord. Alright, guys, another game is 100% done, at least I think it is. Something kind of cool that I left out of the script is the way Skydiving Extreme teases you with the hidden players. When you finish the game with a B class or lower, you get this kind of grainy video footage end credit scene. If you finish with an A rank, the footage is now a little bit clearer and a little bit sharper with some different footage, but you start noticing that there are characters in the formations that you haven't seen yet, which makes you say, hey, wait a minute, how do I do this? And then once you successfully rank S and finish and beat the rival, you get this full screen, beautiful little sequence of end credits, and then you find out the extra players are at the end of the character line in the character select screen. It really is, like, it's a blast. Like, it literally feels like you're playing an old school Japanese arcade game. And my only real complaint is that, like, once you get, if you'll pardon the pun, in the groove, once you get it and you start enjoying it, as soon as you unlock that 6th rival team, you've seen everything there is to see in the game. So it just comes down to if you want to play again or bring a friend over. But I cannot stress with how cheap this game is currently going as of this video posting, it's totally worth it. Like, I went in expecting nothing, and I think it took me like 5 times to try and finally figure out like how the button sequence press worked. And once it clicks, you're in, and you're in for the whole event. So seriously, check it out. Don't bypass it. You can literally buy it brand new, I think, for like 10 to 12 bucks shipped too. It really is fun. And I after racing and Skydiving Extreme and Starfighter Sandian, the PlayStation is just this playground of amazingly cheap, wonderful games, and you should enjoy all of them. Thank you so much, guys. Get vaccinated, stay safe, wear your mask. For the love of all things holy, we'll get out of this eventually. Take care. Have a good one.